Do you believe in the Son of God? John chapter 9 verse 35. That is the question of the ages. It is without a doubt the most important question a human being must contemplate. It will mean life or death, eternally, depending on how one answers. In Matthew chapter 24 verse 24, Jesus warns against false Christs and false prophets performing great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Modern Christianity, no matter what the denomination, is plagued with a myriad of doctrines and traditions of men, teachings that cannot be found in the Holy Bible, yet are embraced as though they are gospel truth. So much of what is considered mainstream originated in pagan, heathen religions. For this reason, a fervent study of Scripture is imperative. Only when a soul is well versed in biblical truth can that soul recognize false doctrines. A false doctrine has obscured the identity of the God of the Bible. The so widely accepted notion that God is a Trinity, a three-in-one mystery being, has muddied the waters of Bible truth for centuries. Consequently, the sonship of Jesus Christ to the one true God of the Bible has also suffered, rendered a mere metaphoric relationship by the ill-conceived wisdom of men. There has been a growing struggle within the Seventh-Day Adventist Church. More and more members of that denomination are questioning their fundamental belief number 2, the Trinity. Members defending Scripture and truth, rejecting this mainstream tradition for a solid, "Thus saith the Lord," have been disfellowshipped for answering the question, "Do you believe on the Son of God?" in the affirmative. Fernando L. Canali wrote in the Handbook of Seventh-day Adventist Theology. Seventh-day Adventist Encyclopedia, Volume 12 on page 138, the concept of the Trinity, namely the idea that the three are one, is not explicitly stated, but only assumed. Fernando is a believer in the Trinity and he admits that the concept of the Trinity is only assumed. In 1981, the Adventist Review published a special issue to discuss the beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist. In the Trinity article on page 4, while no scriptural passage states formally the doctrine of the Trinity, it is assumed as a fact by Bible writers and mentioned several times. A Seventh-day Adventist publication admits that no scriptural passage formally states the doctrine of the Trinity. This belief in the Trinity was voted in as the Church's fundamental belief number 2, just 1 year prior in 1980. The Adventist Review article admits that the Trinity is assumed as a fact. Yet the Church teaches it as a doctrine of the Bible. Charles Ryrie is a Bible scholar and Christian theologian. He believes in the Trinity. He wrote the book Basic Theology. On page 89, Ryrie writes, "Many doctrines are accepted by evangelicals as being clearly taught in the Scripture for which there are no proof texts. The doctrine of the Trinity furnishes the best example of this. It is fair to say that the Bible does not clearly teach the doctrine of the Trinity. In fact, there is not even one proof text, if by proof text we mean a verse or passage that clearly states that there is one God who exists in three persons." Ryrie is a Christian theologian, and he admits that the doctrine of the Trinity is the best example of a doctrine, believed by many, is not clearly taught in the Bible. Ryrie goes on to say there is not one proof text that clearly states there is one God who exists in three persons. To answer the question, is God a Trinity? Examining the evidence does just that. The book details and presents evidence from Seventh-day Adventist history and the Bible in a courtroom trial-like format, putting the reader in the place of a jury. You can weigh the evidence for yourself in this two-part presentation. In Part 1, Examining Scripture against the Trinity Doctrine, the book systematically compares Scripture with Scripture to get a comprehensive biblical perspective on the identity of God and His Son. In Part 2, Ellen White versus the Trinity Doctrine, the book juxtaposes SDA history with the writings of Ellen G. White, co-founder of the Adventist faith. The book allows Mrs. White's written testimonies to prove whether she converted to a Trinitarian view of God or maintained a consistent, non-Trinitarian stance. The book uses the popular notion that she changed while writing her masterpiece on the life of Christ, The Desire of Ages, as the focus, comparing works before and after to make the point. May you examine the evidence presented within the pages of the book with a heart open to God and truth, with a teachable spirit, and a desire to choose life eternal when faced with answering the question, do you believe in the Son of God? You can purchase the book through Amazon.com by using the QR code on this slide. You can also open Amazon.com and enter the search, Examining the Evidence Gilbert Hernandez. I hope you are blessed by reading the book, and I pray that you share this important message with SDA members that are not aware of the truth.